Let's start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. The 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is titled Daiva Asura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. The divine and devilish qualities of the mind. That is the title of the 16th chapter. So, having completed 15 chapters, what we have learned so far, if you want to put it in a nutshell, is that I am of the nature of consciousness awareness. I use this body and mind throughout my life as an instrument. I have experiences of joy and sorrow through this gross body and subtle body, as per the law of karma. As Atma, I am not at all connected with the experiences of the Anatma body and mind. I, as Atma, am one as awareness principle with the totality which is named as Ishvara. Ishvara's Upadhi, like my Upadhi, the medium, Ishvara's Upadhi is the entire cosmos of 14 lokas. Ishvara is not bound by the nature of the universe. I am bound as a jiva, I am bound to the body and mind, and I undergo samsara. Through the study of the 15 chapters, I learned to disidentify myself, the sense of self, which originally I had before the jnana, with the body and the mind. I have learned through the study of the Bhagavad Gita to shift this self, the sense of self, from the body-mind to the Atma. This is what we have studied so far. And Atma Jnanam, what is the nature of Atma, was clearly mentioned in chapter 2, 13, 14, and 15. The main problem of samsara is due to an error of superimposition, which in Sanskrit is called as adhyasa. I do not know my nature as the Atma, pure awareness. Without the body and the mind, I can exist. This is my true nature, intrinsic nature. What I experience in the waking state and the dream state and the sleep state, all the three states are incidental experiences. I am of the nature of eternal consciousness. The three states of the mind are superimposed on the Atma due to an error in the mind. It is an error in the intellect. This error is removed when I study more and more about the Atma and more about the Anatma mind and body and the world. So in spiritual study, this is the operation we are trying to do. I'm trying to dissect my mind, remove the I am, the pure existence from my intellect, cognitively, learn to separate the mind from that combination of mind and awareness. So this is what happens inside the mind. The moment I wake up, I am is pure consciousness that gets reflected in the mind as self-awareness. As soon as I wake up, I am aware of myself in this body, in this mind. This is where we need to do the separation. We will learn more about how to do this dissection of the mind in the Upanishads. In the Bhagavad Gita, we have learned a little bit in 13th and 14th and 15th chapters. We have got some idea. But in the Upanishads and the Brahma Sutra, these are all the second level and the third level of the spiritual study. We understand how to go deeper into the mind and separate the superimposition. That I am has to be separated as a pure presence. You can do it right now. I am the pure presence, the pure consciousness. This is my true nature. Bhagavad Gita teaches me. Whenever the mind is active, I will realize that it is my mind which is active, but I am not active. I am the avyavaharya Atma, transactionless Atma, ever. See, these things may sound very difficult to understand or too abstract, but they are all very simple. If your mind is quiet, if your mind is peaceful, and you are able to focus on the listening of the Bhagavad Gita, right now you will be able to realize your true self. The nature of the mind disturbs us much more deeper than the pains of the physical body. The mind is closer to Atma, the self, the awareness, than the physical body. The physical body, whatever the pains are there, it just goes away in time. The mind carries the pains in the next janma also because of the karana shariram, the impressions, the tendencies which are there. So if I am able to understand my mind a little bit more deeper, I will go 10 steps forward in my spiritual journey to own up the Atma, the awareness as my real nature. The mind as a subject matter is very beautifully described in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. If you have an inclination to study the mind, you can go deeper in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. But they are very, very deep in their terms. You know, they define, they have got so many terms in them. So one might get a little confused with those terms. You see that unless you go through a proper teacher, and then it takes a long time. I will give you a small presentation of that for about 5-10 minutes in the first introduction of the chapter. The second place where you find a little bit more knowledge of the mind is chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. And then in Upanishad called as Amrit Bindu Upanishad and Mandukya Upanishad. These two Upanishads are, especially Mandukya Upanishad, is totally about the mind. If you understand the Mandukya Karikas, you will find a very deep knowledge about the nature of the mind. Vichara Sagara is another beautiful text, which I always say is the PhD of the entire Vedantic philosophy. That is the last I would recommend to study, where the mind is very, very well analyzed. In between, there is another text called as Panchadasi, which I have started doing in the Wednesday classes. That is also a very, very good text to understand the mind. 15 chapters are there. There also we go quite deep into the mind. Whenever we study the mind, you must note that we study the mind with reference to Atma. I take Atma as my nature and then study what the mind is. Without Atma, without owning up Atma, if you try to study mind as it is, there's no use. You will learn about it and you will forget about it. This chapter is meant for us to look out our own mind, correct the tendencies in the mind to whatever extent is possible. This chapter is a mirror, or darpanam. It will show us our entire mind right in front of us. 18 qualities, which are positive qualities, 18 negative qualities, 36 attributes of the mind will be discussed in this chapter. When you go through these qualities, these attributes of the features of the mind, many a times you will get to know, oh, this is what my mind is. And who am I? I am the sphere of the mind. I am the sakshi. I am the consciousness. Every time your mind throws tantrums, you should be able to be alert and immediately recognize the nature of the mind. There are two ways in which you can look at it broadly, the mind. One is through the study of the gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, which Lord Krishna will do in the 16th, 17th, and the 18th chapter. He will analyze 16 factors and break them down into sattva, rajas, tamas, 16 factors. We will study it right from 16th chapter onwards, 16, 17, 18, 3 chapters. We will study 16 different factors with a view to understand the gunas and its nature, how they operate in the mind. And of course, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, I will give you a small glimpse of it today. You can just see if you can follow that. Also, is another way to look at it. The basic advantage of doing this is I will learn more and more about my awareness principle. The more I look at my mind, the more I become, and I consciously say, this is not me, this is not me. I am the awarer of my mind. A distance is created. We rise above the threshold of the body-mind level to a different higher level, which is called as the pure awareness level. Normally, we have a self-image about ourselves. The entire self-image I have about myself is a superimposition. Entire, completely. There are 5 ways in which we superimpose anatma with the real atma. Number 1, the body. Body has got organs of knowledge and organs of action. Body is born, body dies. The biggest adhyasa is I am the body. This is the first which we have to learn to drop and say, I am not the body. Why? Because I am Atma. I am the awareness. Awareness by itself is not connected with the Atma, with the body. The second adhyasa is I am the mind. So as body, I will say I am dark, I am fair, I am tall, I am short, I am fat, I am thin, and all this is adhyasa. And it causes havoc in our lives. Because again and again, these thoughts keep coming to me and then they disturb me. And then I put on so much of activity throughout my life, trying to correct my adhyasa of the body. Not knowing that I am not the body. I am the awarer of the body. Similarly, the mind. We have studied this in the 2nd chapter. The mind has got problems. Raga, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, Ichha. All this, so many qualities are there. Kama, Krodha. The moment that those rise in my mind, I again become attached. Those are superimposed on the awarer. That is the second biggest adhyasa. The third adhyasa is all our relationships. The body adhyasa is called as aham adhyasa. Body and mind, aham. I am the body, I am the mind. Now we are talking about idam adhyasa. Idam means this relationship belongs to me. This is my daughter, my and mine. That is called as idam adhyasa. Idam means this. So thisness is attached to Atma. I-ness is attached from the body and mind to Atma. These two superimpositions are an error. When you come to study the spiritual study, you learn about Atma and you try to disassociate with the body and mind. Relationships is the third adhyasa. The fourth adhyasa is the job we do. The job by itself is not me. Teacher. Teaching is an activity conducted with my organs of knowledge and with my organs of action. I am a doctor. During the time in which my patient is before me, I am a doctor. When I'm trying to sleep in my bed, who am I? I'm not a doctor at that time. I'm a sleeper. So the job which we do, I'm a lawyer, I'm a businessman, I'm a boss, I am a housewife, all these are all jobs which we do. Throughout the Vyavahara, we are having these titles attached to the pure Atma, the awarer principle in this body. So this is the fourth adhyasa. Number 1, body. Number 2, mind. Number 3, Number 3 is relationships. Number 4 is job. Number 5 is possessions. I possess a huge house. Again, adhyasa. House is separate from you. Car is separate from you. It is not you. You possess them for a short period of time. After that, they leave us. But I, the Atma, am always there. In sleep, there is no house, there is no association with the car you possess, with the money in the bank account, with all the properties you own, nothing. When you are born, you came into this world as without anything, no possessions. When you leave also, there is no possessions. You don't take anything with you. So who is that? What is this? What is this which I am having? It is an adhyasa. It is a superimposition. It is an error. It is a mistake on taking those as me. So what is the truth about me is Sat Chit Ananda. I am the pure existence on which the entire world comes and goes. I am the pure awareness in which the knowledge of the Anatma comes and goes. I am the pure happiness without any objects, which is my experience in deep sleep. I am without any upadhi. I am not with my body or mind, neither the world. But in sleep, all of us, we enjoy the experience of our own self without the objects. And we say when we get up in the morning, I had a very good sleep, very peaceful. I was very happy. Did the happiness of the sleep come from somewhere, or was it my true nature? Wasn't it my intrinsic nature? That is the question you should ask. So is there any reason why I have to go after the happiness into the world of objects? Not for happiness, but for comfort, yes. For the comfort of the body, yes, I have to have certain possessions, but not for happiness. Happiness is my nature. So understanding these 5 adhyasas, learning to separate my true self from these 5 adhyasas, from the study of Bhagavad Gita, or the Upanishads, or the Brahma Sutra, or Panchadasi, or Vichara Sagara, I train my intellect to separate my true self from the false ego I. This is the job which we always try to do in the study of the Upanishads, or in the 1.5 hours we spend every Saturday. the time spent behind the study is very, very useful, and it is a very well invested time. Because if you don't know yourself and you know about some things in the field of physics or chemistry or something which will give you money, no doubt, but if you don't know your own true self as the pure awareness, then Vivek Chudamani says you have lost your life in trivial things. The true purpose of life is to know your real nature as Atma. So with that small introduction, I will now get into the chapter and give you a little bit more about what this chapter is. And before I go into the chapter, I will talk about the yoga philosophy. I've got 2 slides on the Yoga Sutra, and then we will go into the proper chapter. The Yoga Sutra says there are 5 states of the mind. The reason I'm bringing it up is in this chapter, we are going to study the mind. And how does the yoga philosophy look at the mind? Because through the 8 steps of yoga, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, all these are all steps to control the sense organs and to control the mind. So when it comes to control of mind, yoga says that the mind has got 5 states: Shipta, Mudha, Vikshipta, Ekagrata, and Niruddha. These are all technical terms from the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Patanjali was the founder of the yoga philosophy. Like we have the Brahma Sutras, which gives the philosophy of Advaitam. Yoga people have got Yoga Sutras. Sankhya have got Sankhya Sutras. Mimamsaka, the ritualists, have their own sutras. Mimamsaka Sutra. The Buddhas, Buddhism, they have their own sutras. Sutras are definitions of the technical terms used to define a particular philosophy. So the 5 states, you see, the knowledge of this 5 states helps me to know when I have these problems, to tell myself it is a problem of the mind. It is called as Shipta. It is called as Mudha. It is called as Vikshipta. Just for my own self. Because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to say I am not them. I am the awareness in which these states of the minds are coming. They will last for a few minutes, hours, days, and then they will go away. Sometimes we have the same mind again and again. It goes in the same thought pattern. Throughout our life, if you are not careful, if you have not nurtured the mind, what will happen is these thought patterns will keep on going again and again. It will be repeated, not only in this birth, in the next birth, and the next birth, the following birth also. Till we learn to understand, I am not them. Shipta means monkey mind. We have learned what is called as Rajas in the 14th chapter. Rajas means restlessness, distracted, fickle, chaotic, confused, scattered, wandering mind. It has got pairs, love and hate, like and dislike, enthusiasm and boredom, anxiousness. All this will make my mind very poor in decision making. So whenever I want to decide something in life, if my mind is very fickle, it will think of something today, it will change tomorrow. It keeps on changing. That is, it is a fickle mind. It's a restless mind. Always distracted for 2 minutes here, another 2 minutes there, another 3 minutes, something else, another. You know, this is the nature of the mind. This is one type. It's called a monkey mind. Then there is a dull mind. The dull mind is called as mudha. Always deluded, always in dullness means tamasic nature. We have seen tamasic qualities. What are the different qualities of tamas? Laziness, lack of concentration, all delusions which are causing lust, anger, greed, infatuation. These are all delusions which belong to mudha mind. I get carried away with them, you know. Because of greed, I just get carried away. So immediately you should say, this is my donkey mind. This is my mudha mind. If anger comes in, oh, this is not me. Come on, I should get away from this tendency of this mind at this time. Let me just do something else. Switch off from that mode to another mode. Go for a walk or do something different. Watch a TV or go and take a WhatsApp and see what I can change my mind. This mudha mind lacks vitality. Therefore, it wants to sleep. Most of the time, it says, oh, no, today is not good. I want to sleep. I will postpone it. Procrastination. I'm always having a feeling of dissatisfaction. This is a big problem for a lot of people. Always dissatisfied. So you will find many people in this type of category of mind. Always complaining, always in a state of sadness, depression. They can never hear their inner voice or communicate with their true self, which is Atma. They don't stand apart. Atma is the presence in the body. I am that. Atma is the presence which is all pervading in the universe. I am that. This is what I learned from the Bhagavad Gita. This is what I learned. If I have not learned it so far, no problem. I will continue my study. So this is the second type of mind. Vikshipta is the third. It's called as a butterfly mind. Why it's a butterfly? If you see butterfly, it will move from one flower to another flower, again come back, again go. It's just like alternative movement, you know. Sometimes your mind is has clear vision, and then suddenly it gets confused. Again, clear vision, suddenly get confused. Very unstable, asthiram, easily distracted. Suppose immediately something comes up in front of you, you will leave all your things aside and then attend to something else. So a mind which is easily distracted is called as a vikshipta mind. Partially focused, not fully. It lacks consistency. Oh, I'll go for a walk one day. I may make a New Year resolution. I will walk every day in the morning at 6 o'clock. But then after the first day itself, I just drop it. This is vikshipta mind. That means lacks consistency, no focus. There are many people who always say, this is my, I have some participants in this group who come and tell me, yes, I will do this from 8 to 12. I will do this from 10 to 11. I will do this from 4 to 5. I will meditate for 10 minutes a day at this time to this time. So this is the nature which we are all trying to cultivate. And these are the people who have got a slightly better quality of mind. Because throughout their life, they have nurtured these good habits. It doesn't come in one day. It takes time. Slowly, you have to put small steps. That is why all these spiritual practices like puja, like japa, like meditation, all these are help to get away from this shipta mind, mudha mind, vikshipta mind and make it ekagrata. What is ekagrata? It is an opposite of the first three qualities. It is not a monkey mind, it is not a donkey mind, it is not a butterfly mind, it is a sattvic mind, a spiritual mind. One-pointed. You take up a task, you finish it, and then go to the next. Any disturbances which come, you say, I will handle it later. It's always peaceful, ready to focus, ready to take up any task. And it has got clarity. Not one day I will study this, another day I'll study this, third day I'll do something else, fourth day I'll do something else. I will do a little bit of Panchadasi, I will do a little bit of Atma Bodha, a little bit of this. No, you've taken a text, complete the text, taken up Gita, complete the 18 chapters. I have such people, some students who are there, absolutely focused. It has taken them 2-3 years to study the Bhagavad Gita. They have come 16th chapter. Verse by verse, they have gone in, understood. That is called as the ekagrata mind. We can all develop this. It is only abhyasa. It is only practice. So this ekagrata mind has thinned out the ego. That means the I, which just keeps on saying in the body, it drops to say I and says, this is the Lord's world. I am not the karta or bhokta. I am a part and parcel of the nature of the 5 elements, which is under the control of the Ishvara. I change my attitude. Through the study of the Bhagavad Gita, what can I say about myself? Nothing. If I am Atma, what can I say? Everything is just a superimposition. I am a higher nature. Everything else is, but then still I have to go through the prarabdha karma, to go through the activities of the body and mind. I do well in my duty. Whatever is my duty, I earn money, I look after the wealth, I look after the property, whatever it is, I look after all that. But the sense of self is not attached to the body and mind. I have awakened to a new attitude of the self. I have an intuition about Atma. A new realm has been opened to me, which is the Paramarthika Satyam, higher nature. Huge, it is the eternal, not the limited. Limited, everybody knows. Waking comes, dream comes, sleep comes, again waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep. 1 day, 2 day, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 year, 1 decade, 2 decades. 6 decades, 8 decades have gone, same waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep, what have I learned? If I go through this year after year, I have just accumulated some money, I have accumulated some properties, I have gone through joy and sorrow in life. Beyond that, I have not done anything. But if I come to the Bhagavad Gita, I get a new vision. I am the Atma. I am the pure self in which the 3 states are coming and going. The mind itself is an object of my awareness. I can clearly see my mind. I can clearly see that the waking, dream, and sleep is just coming because the mind is waking up. The waker, have become sleeper and dreamer. Again, so it is the ego I, which is changing. The last stage is called as the Nerudha stage, Nerudha state. Nerudha means completely absorbed in the self. I know the Atma, I am the Atma, and then this is called as the Jivan Mukta state, pure self. There are very less reactions. There is more stillness in the Antakarana. It is no longer wavering. It is no longer unstable. It is not having all the delusions of anger and greed and infatuation. This is the beauty of the mind. You can see what an ugly mind it was when it was in the Muda or Shipta or Vikshipta states. And now you can see what is the beauty of the mind. It can reflect the Atma so well. The quietude, the peace, the Shanti of the pure self is getting reflected in this same mind which was Shipta and Mudha and Vikshipta. Now it is Ekagrata. It has got one pointed, like you have the sunlight, which you go through the lens, it becomes one pointed. My mind has gone through the study of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishad. It has become one pointed. I can feel the presence of Atma as clearly as anything else in the universe, because that is the subject on which the entire world is getting superimposed. The body, the mind, the world, everything is superimposed because everything is coming into me, the awareness, through the thoughts, through the mind. The world comes into me, the awareness, with the medium of the mind. I learn to separate the mind and I learn to separate the awareness. Then we will all have the stillness. At any time you can invoke the stillness. Right in the middle of a marketplace, in a shopping mall, you can invoke the stillness of your true nature. Because you have practiced it. Because you have learned the technique of Bhagavad Gita. You have learned the 16th chapter and you have mastered the mind. How to handle the mind? If it's a monkey mind, understand I'm the knower of the mind. That is common to most of these 5 states. You drop the unhealthy thought patterns like waking up late, eating wrong food, having negative self-talk, very, very important. The moment you notice I am getting into a negative self-talk, in my own mind, I keep on imagining all the fears. That is called as negative self-talk. Stop it, drop it, do something else. The moment this attitude comes in the mind, if you practice this, do this abhyasa for 4, 5, 10 times, the mind will learn and will not look into that type of a pattern of thinking again. Complaining nature, this is not good, that's not good, morning to evening. You wake up in the morning, you go and shout at your husband and say, oh, this is not good, that's not good. You keep complaining to your children, this is not happening, you keep complaining to the staff. That is called as a monkey mind. Jumping from one to another. Learn to stop that behavior. Learn, it is a mind, it is not me. This is where the difference of the Bhagavad Gita, the teaching comes in helpful. The donkey mind, what you do is you try to drop the thoughts by yoga and meditation. This is for those people who are used to doing yoga, like breathing techniques, like asanas like pranayama and so on, it helps a lot. Butterfly vikshipta mind, watch the thoughts. Whenever it is jumping, it is going from one end to another end, control that. Ekagrata is a positive quality. It's a yoga journey starts from here. Yogic control of the inner self, the antakarana. I filter the experiences of all this Muda state and the monkey, the Shipta and the Vikshipta states. I learned to filter. I learned to drop them. I learned to dissolve the ego. I am not important. This is the Lord's world. Lord will take care. I will do my best as a duty. That is my attitude. But I am not the real karta. There are so many factors involved. My breathing, who is controlling my breathing? The Lord. Without the breath, can the body be alive? No, the mind cannot work without the breathing. None of the organs can work without breath. And who controls the breath? It is the Lord, it is the law of cosmos, which is under Ishvara. Once I have learned that type of a vision of the world, then it is easy to control the ego. Easy. Then once your ego is controlled, then the thoughts and emotions are much more easier. The I thought in the karta and the bhokta, the I thought in the mind, if we are able to realize that, then it becomes easier. In the Nerudha state, we are soaring to the Sakshi Bhava, the Sattvic Buddhi, the ultimate goal of our life. It says Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That means I have no more thoughts which are disturbing my mind. A thoughtless mind can reflect the Atma, the nature of the Atma. That is why so much of preparation goes on for the purity of the mind. And then when I listen to the Shastras through Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasnam, the knowledge of Atma registers in my mind, becomes firm, and once that happens, I am a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means the Jivatvam, the individuality which I was associating, I no longer have that individuality. The adhyasa, the 5 adhyasas which I had, body, mind, possessions, relationships, and the job I do. 5 adhyasas. I say these are all superimpositions of the instrument of the body and the mind. Without the body, there is no relationship. Without the body, there is no possessions. They all come into existence only when the body comes in the waking state, when the mind is woken up. I, the Atma, I am the self-awareness. In me, there is nothing except myself. This is the pure, it is of a totally different nature compared to the material world. I am that consciousness awareness. The more I internalize the awareness principle through Ekagrata and Nerudha states, I learn to control the ego I, which is controlling the Shipta, Modha, and the Vikshipta states of the mind. This is the vision of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. You need to digest this information. You need to apply it in your own mind, and then see the difference it makes to your exercise to nourish the mind, beautify your own mind to whatever extent possible, you see. And the main obstacle to this mind, which is at the superficial level, is the vasanas, which are at deeper level. I don't have any control on the vasanas. The tendencies which I have brought from lives after lives after lives, those tendencies, they will disappear only with the light of the Atma. They will get burned. The vasanas will get burned. Through this yogic philosophy, I can purify the superficial mind and make it calm. Through the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, I can burn down the vasanas, tendencies which are there. The main tendency or the main problem is ajnanam. That is the greatest obstacle. Ajnanam can go, ignorance of the self can go with the knowledge of the self, which is the Bhagavad Gita's I am Atma Gudakeshaha, the 20th verse of the 10th chapter, or all the verses in chapter 2. You have learned all that before. Okay, now the 16th chapter has 24 verses. And the first 3 verses talk about Daivi Sampat. And then from verse 4 to 21, Lord Krishna spends almost 18 verses to talk about the 17 verses to talk about the Asuri Sampat. All the negative values, all the negative qualities, attributes. And he spends only 3 verses to talk about the divine qualities. There are 18 qualities there. The list is given here. I won't go to the depth. This is just a summary for you to go through it. If you want to understand, you can go through it. It's a summary. It's a bird's eye view of the whole chapter. Then what are the negative qualities, which is mentioned here? And then the 22nd verse says that out of these 18 qualities which are mentioned, which are the traits of the negative tendencies in us, 3 main tendencies, if you can control, then all 18 will be under control. And what are those 3? Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Desire, anger, and greed. So whenever you are experiencing these 3 qualities, be careful, be alert. Try to jump into it and see how I can control this. And if I can control these 3, I have conquered my mind. And once I have full control of the mind, automatically the Atma will shine. There is nothing, there is no doubt about it. Because Atma is the light of consciousness in which I know the Atma itself. I know means what? It is the light, it illumines itself, self-evident. And it is the light in which other aspects of the matter principle come to be revealed. The mind gets revealed. Mind is anatma, matter. The body is known to me. It is again matter. So the mind is matter, body is matter, the world is matter. All 3 of them are constituted of the 5 elements. So am I worried if the body is born or body dies? No, because I'm not this field of matter. I am not the Kshetram. I am the Kshetrajna. I am the spiritual essence. I am the Atma. It is of a higher nature. I have no fear. I have no limitation of time. Time affects only matter. In time, the matter is seen. When the matter is not seen, not experienced, it is a dormant state. In that dormant state, I, the Atma, I am there. I shine in my own glory. I know I am the true self, the true Chaitanyam, which is my intrinsic nature. So that is what I realize once I drop the three qualities of Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Then Lord Krishna says, the scriptures are the guide to life. What I should do, what I should not do, what I should own up, what I should drop. The five anatmas, body, mind, possessions, the job which I do, all those five anatmas I learn to drop. And what do I own? I learn to keep. What is this? Is the awareness. The sattvic tendencies, they constitute the knowledge. They will help me to gain the knowledge of the self. The rajasic negative qualities, the tamasic attributes, they are an obstacle to the spiritual pursuit. It makes my whole life go astray. So this is the 16th chapter of 24 verses. So far you have got the yoga philosophy of the 5 states of the mind. You have got now the whole bird's eye view of the 16th chapter. How does this chapter come up? Daiva Asura Sampat, Vibhaga. Vibhaga means difference, the distinction between the divine qualities and the devilish qualities. Now, to give you a background of how this whole thing, this chapter starts, we have to go back to the 2nd chapter and see in the 8th verse of the 2nd chapter, Arjuna says that I have deep sorrow in my mind. I don't know how to get rid of this. Nothing in the world, the world outside can remove this sorrow. I have name, I have fame, I have power, I have a noble family, but what I can't remove this sorrow. Dukkha. Many rich people have the same problem. They have everything in life. They can buy anything they want. One credit card you put in, you can buy the whole world. Nothing but all what will give me is comfort outside for the physical body, that's all, but not for the mind. They give comfort to a certain, it gives me a little bit of security. Oh, I can buy anything at any time I want. I can get insurance, I can look after my body, all that is fine. But the sorrow in the mind, I feel limited. For that sorrow, Lord Krishna said, Atma Jnanam is the solution. Is the knowledge of the self. Ashochananya chochasvam prajnam vadansha bhashase gatasuna gatasumsha nanushochanti panditaha. So what he says here is that the ignorant people, they grieve. The wise people who know Atma, they never grieve. And they have no sorrow in life. That is the start of the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. Remember this verse. Ashochananya chotasvam. This is the starting point of the teaching, and the 66th verse of the 18th chapter is the end of the teaching. So mind is the only tool available for us to handle this sorrow. And some of the Upanishads, they say that the mind can't know because the knowing principle belongs to Atma. Na tatra chakshur gacchati, na vad gacchati, na manaha. This is the Keno Upanishad, very famous statement there. It says that the eyes do not go there. Go where? Go to Atma. The speech cannot go to Atma. The mind also cannot go to Atma. Therefore, the teacher says, we do not know how to explain that Atma to you. Because no words are there. I cannot see. There is none of the sense organs which can know the Atma. And at the same time, I know that it is distinct from the known. Known means what? The sense organs perceive or the mind perceives. The mind perceives as something which is there, as known, or something which is unknown. Both are the qualities of the mind. But Atma cannot be known because it is a witness to the mind. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidvan na bibeti kadachaneti. This is the famous Taittiriya Upanishad, which says that the bliss of this Atma cannot be again known by the mind. It cannot be known by the speech. What we have to understand from these verses is that the refined mind can know the Atma, unrefined mind can't know the Atma. It is born with inherent defects. That is what we should learn. The mind refined. And what is a refined mind? A refined mind is a mind which has got the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Purified mind. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanyatmanyavastitam yatanto yakritatmanaha nainam pashyanti chetasaha. We have studied this just recently in the 15th chapter about this unrefined mind and the refined mind. That's what I was explaining to you now. Kathopanishad also, I'm just giving you a background so that this becomes like an introduction to the chapter, because then you will understand and appreciate what are these divine qualities, what are these devilish qualities of the mind. So in the Kathopanishad, the Lord Yamadharma Raja says that this Atma is hidden in the cave of the intellect because it gets reflected in the intellect. Nowhere else you can get the contact with that Atma. And getting into that intellect and trying to understand, I am the awareness principle in the intellect is a very, very sharp and a subtle process. That is why we need all these explanations. In higher texts like Vichara Sagara, there are 100, 200 verses sometimes on one topic of the mind. Deeper and deeper, goes deeper and deeper, again deeper, till you come to the core. And then what happens is, when your mind goes through those thoughts which are described in those verses, the mind gets the strength to illumine that what the Shastras are saying. It is the strength of the mind with this, which is developed through the study of the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, and the Bhagavad Gita. The mind gets that strength, but then it becomes pure mind, refined mind. And in the two ways in which we can purify the mind is through the Veda study, that is in the Karma Kanda, Veda Purva Bhaga, there are 41 rituals which are supposed to be done by all of us. Like what? All the marriage ritual, the thread ceremony, all the rituals, you all know about it. So they say that one way of purifying the mind is to keep on doing this samskaras. These 41 samskaras will help you to purify all the negative traits in you. The second is the study of the Bhagavad Gita, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyastam. This is the Jnana Yoga method. Through this method also, you can purify the mind. That is what we are trying to do. So 16th and the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is used to develop the Antakarna Samskara. That means to purify the mind. Why do we need to purify? So that the knowledge of that pure Atma as awareness is realized and also retained. See, many times we just realize, oh, this is Atma, I understood it. But then again, I go into the samsara, again, I fall into samsara, and I'm not able to control my mind. So that is why they say your jnanam should be dridham, firm. And that firmness comes with the purity of the mind. What is this beautification of the mind? How does I beautify my mind? Two methods. Dosha apanayanam and guna adhanam. Dosha apanayam means I remove the unhealthy traits. I leave them. Asuri sampat. I fight against that undivine qualities. And then what do I do with that? Then I drop them. In that place, I do guna adhanam. Guna adhanam means I add the new virtues. I add the virtue of doing meditation, japa, parayanam, study of the scriptures, regular study, self-study. These are like putting the kumkum in my forehead or putting the vibhuti. They are alankaram. The Daivi Sampat, the divine qualities are the alankaram for a wise person. And the wise person cherishes these values. He may not be earning money because of these values, but he cherishes it because he wants to understand the Atma, the real nature of the self. So this topic, Daiva Asura Sampat, comes in Dharma Shastra, not as a Jnana Kandam. It is not a Jnana Kandam of the study of Atma, but it is to how to lead a dharmic life with good virtues of the mind and removing all the bad virtues. Like you need to have a fertile soil to make the seed germinate. We have a fertile mind to make the Atma Jnanam sprout there. And like I said before, Ajnanam, the ignorance of the self, is a main obstacle. I need to study the nature of Atma to remove this Ajnana. Then what will happen? That Vasana which is there waiting to sprout, which causes Raga and Dvesha in my mind and also prompts me to action, which is what is called as Prarabdha Karma, they are all roasted. The nature cannot anymore affect me, the Jiva. Because the self, the wheeling of the nature of the self, which is the Atma, the substratum for the entire universe, the Jagat Karanam Atma being Brahman, I have realized that. I have got the final Purushartha of moksha, because of the knowledge of the scriptures and removed and purified my mind by a conscious human effort, I am able to understand my true nature. If I don't repel these negative tendencies, they become stronger and stronger every day, creating more and more obstacles, more wandering of the mind, more restlessness. And then I do more and more papa karmas. So in the waking state, I have both punyam and papa karmas. I do the actions, I get the rewards. In dream, what happens is, I am free of the punya papam. It is an automatic process, it just happens. So Purushartha is possible only in the waking state. Purushartha means self-effort. I remove my prarabdha karma by which sukham and dukham is experienced by controlling my mind and making it fit for Atmajnana. Modha shamoda karmanaha modajnana vichetasaha rakshasi masurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shitaha. This is the 9th chapter where it said that those who are devoid of this quality, they are deluded and they have the asuric tendencies. And who is a Mahatma? Mahatma anastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritaha bhajanyanya manasaha jnatva bhutadim avyayam. What is the quality of a Mahatma? The Mahatma has got divine qualities. He worships me with single-mindedness. Worships me means what? Worships the pure awareness principle, knows the pure awareness. He has become identified with that. So right in the 9th chapter, Lord Krishna has talked about the Daivi Sampad and Asuri Sampad. So the three natures are Daivi, Asuri, and Rakshasi Sampad. Daivi Sampat means worship of the God as the source of universe. Very, very important realization. This awareness is in which the entire universe is coming and going. And that is called as Ishvara. The same awareness is in this body also. In the body of the Jiva. That Jiva who identifies his awareness as the same awareness of the Ishvara, he becomes one with the Ishvara. He is the one who has got moksha. So this happens through divine qualities where you do actions, but they are desireless actions. Nishkama karma of the 3rd chapter of the Gita. As you go by, you will have to recall what we have learned in the previous chapters. 3rd chapter, we said there are 5 types of karma: Nishiddha karma, Prashchita karma, Kamya karma. All those things you should remember. I should learn to be aloof. The body is acting, I am akarta. That should be the bhava. Asuri Sampad, Asuri is another nature. 3 natures are Daivi nature, Asuri nature, and Rakshasi. Asuri nature is the Bhokta. I am always a Bhokta. I am going after one enjoyment to another enjoyment. I want to have only enjoyment in this world. I want the best of the food. I want the best of the clothes, pleasing my 5 sense organs. That's all. Throughout my life, I'll be just working towards pleasing the 5 sense organs, which constitute the body. Charvaka philosophy. And what about Atma? No, no, no. Atma, it will wait. I can wait. I don't. So that is the Asuri Sampad, undivine. And Rakshasi is worse than Asuri. Why? Because it is focused on creating pain for others. Undivine. It causes difficulty to others. At least in Asuri, you are not bothered whether it causes pain to others or not. It causes pain to me, but the thing is that causes pain to me means what? Because I get deluded. Rakshasi is undivine in nature. In this chapter, we are talking about Devi Sampad and Asuri Sampad. A little bit of Rakshasi Sampad, you will come to know, it will be mixed along with the Asuri Sampad. So verse 1 to 3, as I explained to you, is the Devi Sampad. 4 to 21 is the Asuri Sampad. What, very simple, suppose you want to know how to differentiate, how to know what is Devi Sampad. There is a thumb rule. And what is the thumb rule? What I want others to give me, like peace of mind to me, those are the divine qualities. I don't want others to hate me. Those are all what I should develop in myself. And what are the Asuri Sampad? What I don't want others to give me is that, and what I want others to give me, what I don't want others to give me is that Asuri Sampad. Criticize me, become angry to me, insult me. Those are all the Asuri Sampad. I want to be compassionate. They must give me compassion. That is what is called as Devi Sampad. What I don't want from them is Asuri Sampad. What I want from them is Devi Sampad. 18 qualities and 18 qualities in each side. Sampad means we are born with it. Nobody can be away from this. Like Lord Krishna says that in the 14 lokas, there is nobody who is without attachment to these 3 gunas. In the 18th chapter, he says this. He says there's nobody, no human being who is not attached to the gunas of the mind. Everybody is attached, but slowly, gradually we learn. Duryodhana, he said, somebody is prompting me inside to do it. I am not doing this. And what is that? That is the Asuri Sampad. That is the tendency in the mind. There are 4 verses which are very beautiful verses of the 6th chapter, which talks about the control of the mind. I thought I'll just add it here so that next week when we start, then you are very clear about what the mind is and how we can tackle the mind. Uddharet atmana atman nam atmanam avasadayet atmaiva atmana bandhuhu atmaiva rupur atmanaha. Bandhuratma manastasya yenas maivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartama maiva shatruvat. Here in the 5th verse, the Lord says, each one has to lift his own mind by his own self. That means I have the power to purify the mind. He says, come on, don't depend on anybody else. Lift your mind, you yourself, get up. And why? Because the self is the friend and the self is also the enemy. Here the self means the mind. The mind is the enemy if you don't know how to control the mind. The mind becomes one and it can be a friend to you. It can help you in your pursuit of Atma Jnanam when it is peaceful. So the 6th verse says that the one who has conquered the mind, he can be in a position to realize the Atma. So similarly, we also have to conquer the qualities of the mind. Then in the same chapter, 34th and 35th verse, very beautiful verses, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushpratam. So what it says is, this mind is restless, turbulent, strong, and unyielding. See how beautifully Krishna, in 4 words, he describes the whole state of the mind. Restless, turbulent, strong, unyielding. Unyielding means once it gets caught on to something, it will never leave it. Then in the 35th verse, he says, how do you get out of this? Only by 2 methods. By practice and by vairagya. Asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. So now we know what the mind is. We know the 3 gunas which control the mind. We have seen the 5 states of the mind. We have gone through the Bhagavad Gita verses today, the 4 verses of the 6th chapter, which describe the mind. And we have seen the bird's eye view of 18 qualities, Daivi Sampat, 18 of Asuri Sampat. Next week, we will study and start the first verse of this chapter. I will just chant the first verse, but just to remind you that we will start from this next week. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yogo Vadastitihi Dhanam Damasya Yajnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. 9 qualities are mentioned in this one verse. What are those 9 qualities? We will study next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. There are no questions on the chat box. If you have any question on anything which we have discussed in this today's talk, you can raise it now yourself. You can ask the question. You will be unmuted. So you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. Yes, yeah, Shama, tell me.
Shikhaji, namaste. And yes. I have to congratulate you. What a wonderful introduction. Wonderful. I mean, I have no words to, praise enough. It's just so beautiful because it just speaks. And to me, it looks like so one question is, if you were to recommend to a spiritual aspirant the most key chapter in Bhagavad Gita, which one would it be? Of course, with your introduction, not without it.
Oh, very difficult question.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, see, it depends on whether you are a beginner and you are trying to learn to understand the entire scriptural study. If you're a beginner, if you're a beginner and you are a very serious student, then you start from the first chapter and go up to the 18th chapter. That is a normal course.
If I may be permitted to say, for me, this, because you very nicely what you've described is that this is the Dharma Kanda.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, so, and without having this,
correct,
you more or less, even the Jnana Kanda, we can forget about it.
Correct,
because
correct.
This is the almost eligibility criteria that you first refine your system in such a good element, and to find all this in one chapter. And I will again say that with your introduction, because it actually puts all the previous things all in context. So that is why I'm so overjoyed with the thing. The question, just one silly, I know it's a stupid question, but I want to ask, would you imagine that if a person is living a very, very good moral life with completely well-balanced, completely on the template of Devi Sampati, let's assume that there is somebody, self-control, unselfish, whatever, but does no scriptural study, has had done no jnanam, would you say spontaneously through just that, would he actually gain a spiritual realization even if he's not aware, he or she?
Okay, I have two questions to ask you.
Yes.
Have you studied the 18th chapter?
No, I'm not,
Okay.
no, just bits and
Have you spoken to Arjuna anytime before?
No.
This is the question Arjuna asked in the first verse of the 18th chapter.
Really? Okay.
Exactly the same question which you're asking. He has asked the same question to Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
That suppose there is somebody who doesn't have the knowledge of the scriptures, but he is living a moral life. Now, what do you call that person's shraddha? And what do you call that person's lifestyle? Is it sattvic? Is it rajasic? Is it tamasic? Will he also realize Atma or not?
Yes.
That is the question which you are asking.
Yes.
Same question which he asked, Arjuna asked, you are asking the same question.
Yeah.
Now,
I will also qualify. I will also qualify why it's not difficult for me to imagine, because I have a sister of mine, my younger sister, who's a professor in cell biology in US. And she is, to my mind, she's one of the most spiritual persons I've come across, you know, such devotion, such discipline, such, you know, all of the Devi Sampati you say.
yes.
I will say she has all of it, but she's a total agnostic. She doesn't believe in religion, scripture. And it's crazy that we are from the same family, but she's so devoted, you know, like to saving the planet Earth or whatever. I mean, she just doesn't mean it. She actually lives the life of whatever science knowledge. So this is why I'm saying, is she going to realize this?
Yeah, see, the answer to this question is very simple. What Lord Krishna says and what the wise people say in this particular, the answer to your question is, see, she will have a good life. She will have a balanced life.
Very bad.
But she will never get moksha. She will never have the freedom to drop identification in the body and the mind. This she will never get without coming to the scriptures. She will lead a good life. She will be a good dharmic person. But the four purushartha are there. She will get the first, second, and the third. Dharma, artha, kama she will have. But moksha, no.
But she's totally identified with all the bhutas, the bhutas.
Yes, but still she to get the moksha, she has to come to the shastra. Without the shastra, without the study of shastra, she can do all the bhuta yajna, all the yajnas which she can do. She can have a very good quality lifestyle. But she will not. This is the answer from the Upanishads. This question has been asked by several seekers.
Right.
And there is only one answer. The answer is no moksha. Moksha is not possible because the knowledge of the Atma is the most important thing to get fulfillment in life and to get. You may see her. See, your perception may tell you that she is very sattvic, but inside her mind, you cannot go in. You cannot, because you can't go into your own mind. So her mind In what type of a mind is she fulfilled in life? Can she drop everything in the world and be attached to only one, which is her Atma? Can she do that? Without the knowledge of the Upanishad or the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, we have touched upon the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe we haven't gone to the depth of that. But what the wise man, this question is very clear and the answer is 100% clarity. I'm telling you from the clarity of the scriptures, fulfillment in life is not possible without the knowledge and the ownership of that Atma. I am that Atma, the pure consciousness is one aspect I should know. And I should drop my identification with the body and the mind. First step, first knowledge. The second knowledge, very important knowledge is this Atma is the Jagat Karanam Brahma. With having only the first knowledge is like having only one wing of a bird. You cannot fly. As a jiva, you have to fly out of this body and be one with that pure consciousness, which is the Jagat Karanam. Mm-hmm. The second wing which you need is the Tat principle, that you must know this Atma inside is the substratum for the whole universe. The whole universe is rising in this Atma, existing in this Atma, resolving into Atma. This knowledge, if a person doesn't have from the scriptures, that inner third eye will not open.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And
She may be healthy, she may be rich, she may have a beautiful house, she may have very good family, she may have control over her mind. No freedom from sorrow.
Yeah. I will send you an article. Return to Religion. It's written by a PhD psychologist. Most beautiful article. I'll send you.
Yeah, please send it to me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else has a question? Malati, you're always second.
Continuing Shama's question.
Yeah.
One person is having balanced life.
Yeah.
And he is studying scriptures by himself. He doesn't have a guru. Can he attain the moksha?
No, cannot. Self-study in Shastra is not possible. You cannot read a book of the Upanishads and say, I have realized myself. Not possible. You need a guru. The guru is a conscious person. The flame of consciousness can be transferred from a live guru to a live student. When the live guru is talking to you and saying, you are Atma, I am Atma, there is only one Atma, that is the lighting up of the lamp of knowledge. You cannot get that from a book. The book is inert. All is there in the book is inert. But you can use the book, you can use the study to go back to your notes, to go back to all those things as an aid, but not the primary source for moksha.
Whatever there in the book.
Sorry?
Guru says, whatever there in the book, Guru says same thing.
Yes, but then it is said, see, it is the one which is, it is consciousness. The book is not conscious. I am conscious. You are conscious. You are a live person hearing. I am a live person listening. I mean, I'm talking, you're listening. Now, the book can give the same knowledge of the scriptures, but it is still inert. This question is also answered in one of the talks which I have listened. The same question has been asked. I'm just replying from the Swamiji there, and he said, the book, whatever you may read, it is an aid. It is a supportive source, but it is not the primary source. The primary source is a guru. Because the guru is the one who has to teach you Tattvamasi. You are that pure consciousness. And how will you feel justified that I am the pure consciousness, I'm not the inert body? How will you do it? You will also feel justified because it is a consciousness in one person talking to your consciousness in this body. It is two. It's a transmission of one conscious person to the other consciousness. They have the same wavelength. They can communicate. The vibrations can reach you. Therefore, Guru is important. And I'm telling you, Guru also very important is he has the skill. He has the skill to open up your mind and reveal the Atma. You see, it is not easy. You may read a book, but then unless, okay, there could be very, very exceptional cases. In your previous birth, you have already listened to a lot. You just, this time you just listen, some vaguely also you listen, you get liberated. That is a different method. That is a out of the way. It is not a regular. That is why we say very simple is the standard process is you follow Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyastam, study under a guru. And Sampradaya Guru. Sampradaya Guru means that teacher must have gone through a methodology of learning. Through a systematic learning. Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, Vichara Sagara, Shruti Sara Samudranam, all step by step. Then that Guru has got not only the knowledge. In Mundaka Upanishad, it is very clearly said, you must have the skill. Shrotriya Brahmanishtam. He must be Shrotriyam. Means he must have heard. And Brahmanishtam means he must stand on that Brahman and talk to you. He must be standing on that consciousness and talk to you. Then it will make sense. But suppose he is a guru and he has heard something, but he is not himself standing on that. But he's talking to you as if, okay, I heard this in the Mundaka Upanishad, I heard this in Katha Upanishad, but he is only telling you what he has heard. That will not free you. Brahmanishta means he is saying, I am that Brahman. I have realized that pure consciousness is my nature. And I have full faith that I can communicate that to you because you are also that same consciousness. So that's clear? Okay, thank you. Yes? Yeah.
Maharishi is one example. No?
Yeah. Yeah, tell me.
Ramana Maharishi, Swami Ramana Maharishi.
Yes.
He's an example of Brahmanishtam, no?
Yes, he's a Brahmanishta because you see, that's why I said, don't quote exceptional cases. No, that people generally say is Ramana Maharishi, who was his guru? You know, who taught him? But then that is where we say he is a Yoga Brishta. Yoga Brishta means what? From his previous births, he has had his guru, he has had the full knowledge. When Ramana Maharshi writes the Saddarshanam, you can see the flow of Vedanta in it. Upadesha Sara, you can feel the flow of Upadesha, the flow of Vedanta in it. You see Ramana Maharishi's quotations which come in divine quotes every day. He's talking from the point of view of Atma all the time. He's rooted in Brahmanishta. He's rooted there and then he's talking. See, that is why it makes a difference. So he's an exceptional guru. So there are many exceptional gurus, but we must not go by exceptions. You must go by normal study where people are able to realize the Atma. I tell you, go through the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Brahma Sutra, Panchadasi, and Vichara Sagara, 5 texts. These 5 texts, if you are able to study, listen to them from a guru. You can go listen. You need not listen personally in front. You can listen through a CD. It is the same as, see, in today's world, you don't have to go to the Himalayas like Swami Chinmayananda had to go to the Himalayas to go and study under a guru, Tapon Maharaj. You know, he had to walk miles and miles to reach that ashram in Uttarkashi. Now you and I have to just zoom and then click one, put a number into it, and you get the same talk. This is the world today. It's available to us at our fingertips. So world has changed. The teaching is coming to us directly into our own living rooms with the help of technology. The same what people had to go through. Those were the times when we had to go through to a particular guru and then, you know, with Samit Panihi and then bow down to him. Now the guru is coming to our Zoom. This is a changed world. Okay. All right. Anybody else? There are some questions in the current worldly nature friendly looks like material nature is so okay, somebody has replied to it. Lakshmi Kant. Okay, Bud, do you have any questions?
No, Shakti Hari Om.
Okay, thank you.
I replied to Shamaji's question.
Okay.
That the current preaching, what you hear in the media is completely devoid of worshipping attitude.
Yes.
It is more of, it's like, no, I'm losing it. How can I keep it without losing it? How do I exploit it further? That is the attitude which is there.
Yeah.
So I don't think they are no way closer to what Shastra is teaching. What Shastra is telling us, worship water, worship air, worship everything, right? Varuna Bhagavan.
Yes.
Everything is Bhagavan for us.
Yes.
But for the Western world, it is just tapping.
Correct. Yeah.
That is one thing. And the second thing is that Malatiji asked another question that studying or otherwise, the books are will help us.
Yes.
If that's going to help us, these Europeans stole almost all our scriptures and carried over to Germany and England.
Yes.
But not one realized soul came out of that. Right?
Yeah, that's correct. Because they only studied it. Yes.
Produces that kind of a soul.
Yes.
So that shows that your answer that it has to come from a guru, and then only you will get the knowledge. However, you study the scripture.
Yeah, because you're right. The topic is Apaurushaya Vishaya. We must know that this is not Paurushaya Vishaya. Paurushaya Vishaya means it is not human knowledge.
Yeah.
It is divine knowledge. And it can come to a person who is in touch with that vibration of consciousness. It's a different realm altogether. It can come and that answered that question last.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions at the moment?
I have just added one small question.
Yes.
That would you agree that spiritual aspirant must be judicious and careful in discussing and sharing spiritual thoughts only with the fellow spiritual aspirants only? The reason I'm asking is because I quite often have done this mistake of, just because you feel so enthused and so joyous about what you are learning, that I make a mistake of talking to the wrong people.
Yeah. Many times we, out of our own enthusiasm to share our knowledge, because we feel
it should not be done.
It should not be said. in the Bhagavad Gita, in the last 10 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Lord Krishna says, who you should talk about the Bhagavad Gita and who you should not talk about in the same Bhagavad Gita.
My God, he's covered up everything.
Every single question. That is why I'm a little surprised whether you're in touch with the Lord Krishna or Arjuna somewhere at some time, you know.
No, I'm still living with Arjuna.
Okay. So you see this, what he said, Lord Krishna says is that those people who will criticize the Bhagavad Gita's teaching, don't talk to them. If somebody is interested and he has respect for the Bhagavad Gita, talk to them, teach them, discuss with them. Like this group of people who are in this group today, you can ask any questions. You can discuss with them any questions. You can open up and say, okay, I want to form a group. If you're interested, let's discuss the 18th chapter again.
I will request Malati to do that.
Yeah. Malati, you can ask. You can form a small group if you want and say, okay, let's just discuss for half an hour every week, you know, whatever we have learned.
Before Shekharji's class, before his class.
Yeah, before my class, you can use the Zoom and then you can just say, okay, let's just discuss amongst ourselves. Let's, you know, see, many times in every class, you may find some people, they have more doubts. And the more you discuss, you can also learn.
Yeah.
You see, they say that a part of the learning comes through discussions with fellow students.
Yeah. I just want to very quickly respond to Lakshmikantji's comment he made about the Western world. So it's quite true to say material Western world is very material, but likewise, India is not far behind. And I have often, you know, faced the situation where I'm visiting Delhi and I have been told, you know, where just by mistake, I happen to just say something from spiritual aspects. And I've been told, oh, very politely though, when will you finish your preaching? Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's right.
So then I realized, I don't know which world have I come to.
Yeah, correct.
Because I can expect to discuss like this, meeting in a train in the underground in London. But if I say this in Delhi, South is very different. South is the most wonderful. It is still being preserved in the South. Our Shastras. I have to be very clear in my mind. South India is preserving our Shastras.
No, even in North India, it's certain pockets, you know, there are certain pockets which preserve, you know, all over India, you'll find spirituality is there, but in small.
Why did all the acharyas come from the South? Tell me.
Okay. Anyway.
Shekhar.
Yeah, Jacqueline, tell me. Did you listen to the first part of the today's talk?
Yeah, I did. What I want to ask is, we as a pure consciousness, I mean, we are human here in this world, but then we are pure consciousness, and I'm just asking, in fact, each and every minute or each and every second that what we are doing, it is being illuminated by pure consciousness. It is not the human being is doing it. Just like I sleep, when I'm tired, I go to sleep and I don't have an alarm. It will just wake me up unless I put an alarm, and the alarm will wake me up. I eat, I go to, you know, I go everywhere, each and every moment, like what I'm talking to you. In fact, it's human being that I want to talk to you, but in fact, it is not me that want to talk to you. So to me, it's very peculiar. Of course, this is nature. We are going, you know, that's why we have to go through the process. But in fact, is there any place that they say everything is not being started? But I mean, for me, I don't think I started the engine. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, see, what you're saying is there are certain things beyond our control and things happen in our life. So if things are happening and you are learning and it is not, and you see, this is where the distance you have now created. I always tell you, create a distance between body, mind, and yourself. So now you have learned how to do it. See, so now what you're saying is, I realize that it is my body, mind which is acting. I am not the actor, which is a very, very good statement you are making, which is a good realization. I mean, I'm glad after 1.5, 2 years of study of all the scriptures so far, you have been able to achieve this success. I must congratulate you for this type of experience and learning. So keep learning, and especially the more you learn about these chapters and the qualities of the human mind, you will be able to succeed more. Yeah, anybody else has a question? Bolo?
You said you had learned scriptures through a guru.
Yes.
You have learned scriptures through a guru. Should I be attached to only one guru, or I can learn from different gurus?
Okay, good question. See, what I said, again, the same I had asked to my guru, and I have also learned from so many people in the past. Initially, stick to one guru. Initially, try to learn from one teacher all the texts, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, so that he has a style, he has a methodology, and he will be able to guide you. But it has to be a systematic study. Not today you will do Bhagavad Gita, and then you will do Kathopanishad, and then you will do, suddenly you will do Vichara Sagara. No. These are the mistakes which I have learned in my first 15 years of study. I made a lot of mistakes, because you see, I live in Singapore. I don't have a teacher here, and I can't find a teacher. So therefore, whatever teacher comes into my city, he gives a talk, I go and listen. If he talks of Upadesha Sara, I listen. If he talks of Saddarsana, I listen. If he talks of suddenly of Mandukya Upanishad, I go and attend the talk. So that's what happens to all of us. But like I said, that now the world has changed a lot. Today, CDs are available. See, the problem with YouTube is that you get caught up with a lot of rubbish in YouTube. So it's very difficult to find a place in the YouTube where you can really do spiritual study. It is a blessing. At the same time, it causes a lot of confusions. See, one day you listen to one Swamiji in YouTube, you get carried away by that Swamiji, and then suddenly you listen to some other talk tomorrow. One day Bhumananda, another day Sarvapriyananda, third day some other Swamiji. It's just you go in circles. So to answer your question directly is, please listen to one. You take any guru you want. If you are able to understand the talks, take a sample, go through the talk. If you are able to understand, go through from the same guru, all the 18 chapters. For example, Lakshmikant Bhatt, he has learned all the chapter verse by verse from chapter 1 to chapter 16. Every single verse he has learned. Systematically, every day he listens 1 hour a day. 4 verses, 3 verses. And he has taken 2-3 years to study, 5 years to study, whatever. And it's systematic. So go along in this fashion. Don't try to do, mall hunting for a Swamiji. It's one mall to another mall to another mall, another mall. One day this, one day that. I mean, and like I said, please follow systematic study. Do the Atma Bodha, do the Tattva Bodha, to come to Bhagavad Gita, learn the Drishdishya Viveka, learn step by step. I've taken the 18 chapters. I said, okay, let me finish the entire Bhagavad Gita. So that, you see, there are many people here in the same group, who have heard, like Foon is there, Uma is there. She has learned all the way through. Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha. I mean, for 2 years she has been leasing. She is one of the very, very, meticulously coming every talk. And that way she will learn a lot. See, you learn a lot because it's a systematic study. See, now you see when you come to the 16th chapter, how beautiful it is. You see, what Shama said today, isn't this the best chapter for a beginner? I agree with her. Because you see, for a beginner, this chapter is very useful. To Jacqueline, I wish I had taught her the 16th chapter 2 years ago when she said, I want to learn the spiritual study. I said, no, I will follow the Sampradaya. I will follow the way I have been taught by my guru. I said, okay, let me teach you the Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, then come to Bhagavad Gita, and then to the 16th chapter. Now, this is what she wanted on the first day. So, the reason is there is a methodology, and the human mind is a very peculiar thing. It is very difficult to make it understand that it is not the mind. See, that is the most difficult task. It is that ego I, which learns to understand that it is a fake I. It depends on the Atma. The light of Atma illumines this ego I. And the moment the ego I understands that, the job is over. Then what happens is, then you will say, okay, I understand the Bhagavad Gita. I have falsified my ego. I am free. That's all. You see, the falsification of ego takes time. Because we have identified with the ego for a long, long time. And the ego I is that personality. Today, that is that person today in this body. It is not the Atma. I have to I have to unseat that ego I and then put the Atma inside. Okay, so to answer your question, please have one guru, go through that as much as possible. You can always, after study of say 2, 3, 4 years, you can always study other Swamiji's CDs, and you can also grow. You might find some other deeper aspects. So there are some Swamijis who are able to go very deep into a topic. There are some Swamijis who can sing, who can teach as per the Shastras, give you step by step, very simple. This is the verse, this is the meaning. This is the verse, this is the meaning. So initially, my thing is, please go through one guru, study the entire scriptures. It will take you 4 or 5 years. It doesn't matter. Time is not an element. Don't put any time limit for your study. You can start study at any age, but be systematic. And definitely, it is a science of freedom. It is a science. It is proven. I'm telling you, go with full faith that I will be able to know myself. That's it. Full faith. Just have that courage, have that faith, that Shraddha. It doesn't matter if you don't understand a few things. These are all small obstacles will come. But just keep up the study, you will succeed. Okay, I've talked quite a lot today. We'll start again next week with the first verse, and then we'll finish these 24 verses. And I may not go very slow. I might go a little bit faster because I've given you a full introduction. And now it is fairly easy. There are 18 qualities and 18 qualities here. It's just a brush up of see, when you go through these qualities, it's like a mirror. You will find that, hey, I think all those things refer to me only. You will find that. That's the beauty of this chapter. Okay, thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Hari Om, Shikar.
Hari Om, thank you.